Well, hello there, everybody. My name is Shannon Bradley, and I'm a project manager at the National Center for Supercomputing Applications at the University of Illinois. Welcome to our concurrent session F this afternoon. The theme for this session is supporting education and communication. And we're going to have 3 presentations. Each of them should run about 10 to 12 minutes, followed by a small session of questions and answers. After all 3 of them are complete, we'll have a general discussion and questions and answers for the final 15 minutes of the hour. As I posted in the chat earlier, please feel free to post any questions that you have in the Zoom chat. I will look for those questions and share them with the presenters whenever we're ready. And we also encourage you to use the shared notes section in the document in Kiko chat. So the presenters have a future reference to go to about some of these questions. Also, don't forget to sign in that you have attended the session this afternoon in that document in Kiko chat. So onward and upward, here we go, everybody. Our first presentation is going to be about the Intercultural Learning Hub, or HubICL. The presentation this afternoon will be by Annette, Benson, and this one is a pre-recorded presentation, but afterwards Annette is with us so we can do some Q&A. Our second presentation is an interactive C++ code development presentation using C++ Explorer and GitHub Classroom for educational purposes. And this will be presented by Patrick Deal and Stephen Brandt. And our third presentation is by simplebee.io, an online tool and community for communicating biology and biomedical science in plain language. And our presenter will be Arjun Krishnan. So I'm going to let Annette go ahead and take it away. Welcome, Annette.
So now you'll just start. I'm Annette Benson, and on behalf of my assistant, Lindsey Macdonald, our HUBzero liaison, Claire Stirm, and our HUBzero stack developer, Anthony Fuentes, it's my pleasure to tell you about the development of the Intercultural Learning Hub, the lessons we've learned, and future developments in store for our hub. Intercultural Learning Hub, also known as the HubICL, was rolled out in its final version on November 6, 2018, almost 2 years ago. Before we begin talking about the HubICL as a hub, it might be helpful to talk for just a moment about what we mean by intercultural learning, since we were talking about the Intercultural Learning Hub. The term intercultural learning refers to the acquisition of general, transferable, intercultural competence. That is, competence that can be applied to dealing with cross-cultural contact in general, not just skills useful only for dealing with a particular other culture. Our objectives in teaching undergraduates about intercultural learning are defined in the AAC and U Intercultural Knowledge and Competence Value Rubric. We teach openness, curiosity, communication, empathy, self-awareness, and worldview frameworks through the use of experiential learning tools. Assessment, debriefing, and reflection resources are also important in our field. The experiential activities that educators and facilitators use come from a variety of sources: books, favorite consultants in the field, academia, workshops, flipping through books, Googling. But no one had ever created a one-stop shop in which you could plug in what you wanted to teach and get recommendations from a storehouse of activities. Being that one-stop shop was the impetus for the creation of the HubICL. I had the opportunity to attend an SGCI boot camp, now called Focus Week, in the summer of 2019. It helped us to think through what set us apart from other intercultural learning offerings where people have been getting their intercultural learning training and experience. We set a goal to be both superior in the extent of resources as well as the depth of resources that we offer. When we first discussed the creation of the HubICL, our only intention was to create a searchable and shareable toolbox of intercultural learning resources. Once we met with the HUBzero folks, we discovered that the HUBzero template offered much more than that. So we also created an online space for others to collaborate, as well as a research repository. However, the toolbox, that's what remains what the HubICL is most known for. So if you were to go to hubicl.org/toolbox, this is what you would see. Down the side is a menu which allows the user to search based on the aforementioned AAC&U value rubric, as well as logistical concerns. There's also a more advanced search with more options such as stage-based pedagogy and additional skills. When users want to contribute to the HubICL toolbox, they progress through a series of forms such as this one, filling in what they know and then leaving the rest for the HubICL curation team to fill in. As the curation team goes through the process of fully understanding the proposed tool and preparing it for sharing with others. After a tool is published to the toolbox, it looks like this. Through a usability study supplied by SGCI with Dr. Paul Parsons and his team of UX students, we realized a few upgrades were needed to improve the user experience. For example, an open tab is now white, populated tabs are dark gray, and unpopulated tabs are grayed out in a lighter shade of gray. In addition, the user experience team suggested that some people would rather have all of the information contained in the tabs in a single lesson plan, which we now also supply for many of the tools. The experience of working with the HUBzero team was cross-cultural communication at its best, as HUBzero learned the priorities and language of the HubICL team, and we learned to communicate what it was we wanted in terms that HUBzero could translate into code. I will forever be grateful for our stack developer, Anthony Fuentes, and our HUBzero liaison, Claire Stirm, as they worked through this process so patiently with us. During the development, the HUBzero team discussed how the toolbox should be designed. Should it be a plugin or a component? The team decided to create the toolbox as a component, as it would have its own functionality, its own database tables, and its own presentation within the Hub. The team started building an initial database with entity attributes and tool data. After laying the foundation for the toolbox in the Hub, the HUBzero team mapped out the toolbox's entity relationship diagram. From the foundation of the toolbox component, both teams collaborated closely to design user interface mockups. The mockups allowed the Silmar team to visualize the interaction of the toolbox and answer logic questions on how their audience would expect to discover tools and publish new tools, such as, can tools have more than one type? Or which fields are required when creating a new tool? It is worth underscoring that the launch was different from a typical hard launch in that there were no significant movements of the software or other challenges that generally accompany the delivery phase of development. Delivery of the toolbox iterations was continuous throughout the engagement. When it came time to launch the toolbox, the teams only allowed public accessibility, making the launch process seamless. The HubICL operates on a membership model. Knowing who our members are allows us to report up the chain to those who fund us. It allows us to know who our audience is, and it protects us from the unwanted attention of those who would want to spam us. So what have we been able to accomplish in the 2 years since the HubICL was created? It was our goal to hit 1,000 members by January 1, 2020. We were able to make the 1,000 goal on our first birthday, November 6, 2019. On September 30th, 2020, our membership was 2,414. We hope to be at 3,000 by March 1st. As of September 30th, there were well over 600 tools in the HubICL toolbox. Over 500 of them were entered into the toolbox from the established literature on the topic, and 80 original or adapted tools were entered by HubICL members. As the HubICL toolbox has grown, so has activity in the HubICL. However, it's difficult to know what people are actually doing in the Hub. The HubICL administrator side lets us know when a person's first and last logins were, but we cannot tell what people are doing once they log in. We get that sort of information from sifting through Google Analytics. Regardless, there are a large number of people who seem to like the idea of the HubICL when they hear about it from a friend or at a conference, but there are fewer who are actually logging in and using it. As you can see by the graph, no matter how we run the numbers, it is proving difficult to get even 40% of users to return after they register. Live demonstrations, which show how easy it is to use the HubICL, have proven to be a good way to generate returning users. When we attended the SGCI Focus Week, the activities that we did there also helped us to focus in on our target audience. Through the fishbone exercise, we came to realize that our core audience is educators involved in higher education. We make the HubICL accessible to users from corporations, government entities, privatized organizations, and K-12 education. But we do not generally target these audiences or create content with them specifically in mind to the exclusion of higher education. You can see that we have remained true to the targeting which was established at Focus Week, as over 75% of our active users come from higher education. From looking at the Google Analytics, we also know that 39% of our active members are coming from word of mouth. And the 27% number from conferences is good to know, as we've lost the ability to travel during the pandemic. So we're looking to create alternatives to conferences. As we look toward the future, another portion of the HubICL is being developed, which will allow professors, teachers, staff members, and consultants to work on their own intercultural learning through a new professional development zone. With the loss of live conference presentations this fall, we've been taking advantage of opportunities to demonstrate the HubICL at virtual conferences. We're also seeking ways to profit from backlinks, mentions in journal articles, and our own HubICL outreaches through demonstrations of tools sponsored by Purdue Center for Intercultural Learning, Mentorship, Assessment, and Research. We are delving into the analytics to see what users are interested in, which is often information regarding equitable assessment and tools from the toolbox that can be used in a distance learning environment. In addition, we try in our messaging to emphasize what educators might want to share with others through the HubICL, not just what they might want to use from the Hub. We are considering simplifying the process for sharing a tool in order to make the task less daunting. In closing, I would so like to express our continued appreciation to the SGCI team, which keeps us going, and in particular, Anthony Fuentes, Claire Stirm, and Nate Snodgrass, as he now serves as our HUBzero liaison. If you'd like more information about the HubICL, please visit us as you see on the screen. Thank you to SGCI for this opportunity.
Thank you, Annette. Does anybody have any questions? I know I would like to say, I think even though you said you were not getting even 50% return after someone visited one time, compared to the numbers I've been working at, your numbers are better than mine. So I think you're doing pretty good.
Good, thank you.